Welcome to House of Valkyries, the global movement of soul on fire embodied arts, where ambitious mystics, creatives, and witches, weirdos, and rebels come to trailblaze your soul movement. I'm your host, Carly Raemer. And we're here with Violet Vang, co-pilot of Valkyries 6, which starts October 8th. Our sixth cohort of Valkyries since 2021. And today we think that we're going to talk about existential kink, which is a practice that we bring into Valkyries about at the third mark, like somewhere between the third mark and halfway through. Existential kink has been part of Valkyries since day one and was enormously pivotal in my journey. And we're just gonna see where it takes us. It's part of what I believe is missing in a lot of people's practice. That is what we were talking about last time without calling it EK specifically, and that is the approval of all of our parts and the full experience of life, including the parts we think we don't like, the parts of ourselves that sabotage and cause problems and blocks and get in the way of conscious desires and our inner taboo and super kinky thoughts, desires, experiences. Yeah, so welcome to House of Valkyries, Existential Kink.
Welcome. What is existential kink?
Existential kink is a shadow integration modality, shadow integration modality that was birthed by Carolyn Elliott, who has since gotten married and changed her name and now goes by Carolyn Lovewell. Carolyn Lovewell, a brilliant, wow, the words that I want to use for her are beyond the words that I have in my head mouth. She's a brilliant witch. She has this incredible mystery school, sleepover mystery school. She has another one that's like all things hermetic art and ancient magics, called Electric Yes, and runs a what does she call it? Anyway, another school that she teaches magic, essentially, is what she teaches. And the Immortal College, there we go. And yeah, she teaches magic, and this modality was birthed through her, called Existential Kink. And essentially we're making all parts of ourselves really, really right. And particularly the ones that we deem bad and wrong, definitely unlovable. Like if anybody met us there, they would not love us. They would cast us out. We would be lost and alone forever, and definitely broke, and living in scarcity.
Yeah. So it's like, for me, it's like the ghouliest and grimiest and bitchiest bits.
Yeah, they're certainly different for everyone, and they run a spectrum of ghouliness and griminess and bitchiness, and some of them are like pretty innocently bitchy and ghouly, and some of them are like very deeply and wildly and grimily ghouly and nasty and bitchy. And it's like we often work with the light archetypes, the light side of archetypes. Like we know Mother, Maiden, Crone. We know help me with the other archetypes that we work with. There's like the creator archetype,
the queen,
yeah.
the warrior,
The warrior, hunter, yeah.
yeah.
I'm like staring at my archetypes deck and I'm like, what are the archetypes? And like there's so many different lenses to go through
Yeah.
archetypes too. But anyway, we work with the light archetypes, but existential kink is like looking at and making okay and safe the dark archetypes, or like the internal archetypes being something that we all hold.
Yeah.
Looking at our darker archetypes, and making them okay and great, and allowing ourselves to get off on our dark desires to reach a place of full integration. So EK is the practice of getting off on what you don't want, what you think you don't want, so that you can have what it is you consciously do want. And so the darker archetypes being like our inner ghoul, our inner golems, our inner we talked about the archetype of murder bitch last time, or maybe 2 episodes ago. But yeah, these darker parts of ourselves that society has deemed wrong, and so we're like, no, don't let that out. No, don't feel that. That is absolutely wrong. You are wrong for doing that. You're wrong for thinking that. And EK really lets us fall in love with the parts of us that love separation and scarcity, and have thoughts and desires that are, again, in society's terms, taboo. So like lots of primal sexual urges that the rest of the world is like, push that down, repress that, don't do that. That is not accepted, not acceptable. And EK just like brings it all to the surface and makes it really, really, really right.
Which brings me to the conversation we were having before we hopped on, of like current state of being. Your current state of being, my current state of being. And I don't know, do you want to share a bit about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that both of our states of being are enormously natural states of feminine being, of feminine expansion and contraction, and states of being that are absolutely normal before a change, before an expansion, before an understanding, before a new embodiment, a version of self. As I would say that both of us are in alchemical states of being that are weird. It's like it's the weird phase before the element turns into gold, or before the before the caterpillar takes the butterfly shape, and it's in the like monstrous gooey, like if you opened up a cocoon and it's not done with its process yet, and you're like, oh good God.
What is this goop?
Like I thought it was gonna be this like beautiful, beautiful thing in here. I've never opened up a butterfly cocoon before it's ready, but like that's what it feels like. And the somewhere between caterpillar and butterfly inside is like, oh God, don't look at me.
I'm not ready yet.
No, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm molting. And the practice of existential kink, which is really full approval, like full approval, embodied full approval,
Yeah.
and just in this moment feel the difference between cognitive I approve of this and a body full approval. Like when body full approval, or when body's fully approved of something, we're regulated in it.
Right.
There's softness and openness.
Right.
Otherwise we're just like convincing, which is fine. Like you can get to each position from the other one.
Yeah.
But when we go through the body first, which is what we do in Valkyries, it's actually a faster and a longer lasting transformation than convincing in the head.
Yeah.
But anyway, Violet and I are both in states of she's over there in some kind of liminal state, and
It's
I'm over here
nothingness.
in the state of
In the
in the state
yeah.
of nothingness. Or I will call this one the hold empty. It's for me, and this might be a different state for you, so let me know if this is not it. But for me, when I'm where you are, it's like the bottom of a breath. So when you breathe all of the air out, still breathing out, I'm still breathing out, I'm still breathing out, and we're empty, 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 and then hold there. And everything in you wants to take a new breath, but it's not time yet.
Yeah. And that is the practice though, right? Being able to hold. And I feel like where EK comes in is that this goop phase is usually where the those parts of us, the stories start popping up, because to hold empty means to hold empty and not fill the space. And if I'm not practiced in that, then I'm trying to grab onto something to make meaning of the emptiness or needing to fill.
Or need to fill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grab onto something to make meaning of the emptiness. The energy of that feels like a making safe, like making okay. Like if I understand this, then I can make it okay. And probably a like trying to scoot out of it earlier. Like
Yeah.
if I understand it, then I can move on from level empty
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
level one, even when it's not done with me. And the wounded masculine filling. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
emptiness means fill in the blank. When I'm empty, I
Right.
make that mean about me that I'm not valuable here. I'm not doing anything here. I'm not good
I
enough.
don't know anything.
I don't know anything here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so wounded masculine will try to fill the space, and make her and fix her, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you talk about the building of pressure in the hold empty space?
It's the pressure to do, like, the building of the pressure is like, oh, do I need to be doing something right now? Or is there something that I need to know is there something that I'm not getting? So it's like the pressure to know, um, the pressure to do, to have a direction or a movement. But if there's no, so that's where most of my pressure comes
Mm-hmm.
from. And the practice for me to decompress or like to release the pressure is to find safety in like, I don't know right now. Or like the doing, like there isn't anything necessarily that I have to do right now. Creating safety here.
How do you create safety here?
Um, it sounds very like basic, but it's like being okay with not knowing. That's like my basic answer.
Yeah.
Somatically, um, I would say, actually, I don't know if this is somatically, but allowing myself to trust that every move that I am making is correct. So that's to the directional, like, I don't know where I don't know where to go piece. But it's like, well, today I just need to go for a walk, you know, like super, super basic. Um, and that usually holds empty for me, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, of course. I I know that it is like whether that came through somatically or not, I know that it is somatic. Like when we're talking about pressure, like putting pressure, wounded masculine putting pressure on the feminine to do.
Mhm.
Um, and her putting pressure on him, actually, like wounded feminine putting pressure on him, which is kind of an outsource of pain. Um, yeah, yeah, okay, this is like a flipped, it's kind of a gaslighty energetic in here.
Mm.
Feminine puts pressure on the wounded masculine to fix me so
Yeah.
I don't have to feel this.
Yeah.
Make this better so I don't have to feel the emptiness. But the pressure, we talk about pressure and we use pressure as a phrase, like, oh my God, there's so much pressure on me.
Mhm.
I'm putting pressure on me. The world's putting pressure on me. The whatever is putting pressure on me. But
Mhm.
it is somatic. Like you can feel the pressure in your own body.
Yeah.
And you can shift into a state of making yourself okay here, which is the most effective way to do that is through the body and to be with all of the parts of ourselves that feel unworthy, unsafe, and unlovable when we're not doing, forcing, trying to move through this, trying to fill the space, when we can
Mhm.
make those parts of self actually lovable and safe to not do,
Yeah.
then we find trust and regulation in the body.
Yeah.
It's deep, deep sacred feminine work to be in relationship with the emptiness, with the mystery, with the phases of the feminine cycle that are not producing magical results,
Mhm.
the phases of the cycle that are down and ugly and unfurling and unwinding and empty, and at least, I mean, it's cyclical, so I'm going to say at least half of them are like, if this is the phase of creation, this is the phase of destruction, and the destruction phase is gnarly. And so to be in right relationship with the emptiness, with the down, with the void, with the darkness, which is, like Violet was saying, where all of our uh, shadowy and wounded parts, and where a really great place for existential kink comes in. When we can be with these parts coming from a place of full approval, this is really when they start to integrate into our self as whole. instead of the places where we try to speed through the process of, well, any parts of the process, to speed through, make it faster, make it go away, so that what we're trying to do is not feel what it feels like to be in a part of the phasing that is uncomfortable. Some of the most fulfilling work for me has only unfolded over time, and is something that I believe can only be cultivated with time, and that is being writing my relationship with the mystery, particularly in the phases of life. And I can feel that this is for me. The phases of life and the cycle of creation that are enormously blind, like that point in your the point in your journey, the point in your growth, the point in your becoming, where, I mean, it feels like the adage that we often use is the phoenix, right? Like the phoenix is going to burn, phoenix rising from the ashes, but the ashes part, the burn part, the ashes part where you're like, what is this body? What is this old life? And it feels like you're blindfolded, right? It feels like to be in the void, to be in the liminal is like when you can feel what's coming, but you can't see anything. There's no evidence of it. I was just talking about right relationship with the mystery, and being in the places that are blind, when we don't know what's coming, when we can't see what's coming and there's no evidence of it, but you can feel it. You can feel it in your soul bones. You know it's coming.
Yeah.
And that spot on the map is so powerful, particularly in making yourself safe somatically to not rush the process.
Yeah.
And the work
And
that we do in Valkyries is really cultivating the frequential and the energetics of what is coming in and not getting in the way of that. So we talk about manifestation, or building our dream lives and businesses and becoming the women that we're meant to become. But that happens we do that through embodiment and frequency. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, in that process, like we get to learn how natural it is to move and be in that way, and like our natural processes, our natural cycles, and it doesn't it no longer becomes this like dramatic experience. And I'm not discounting the drama of it, but it gets to be so natural.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And like you speak to this as like, I know this spot on the map because it's so naturally imbued and like embodied in your experience. It's natural movement. And
Yeah.
we're not forcing, and we're not moving in such a wounded masculine way, because that is unnatural.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, it is now. It is for both of us now, but it's taken
Mhm.
time. Time, man, we could do hours on time. Time is one of the elements or the mediums in the alchemy toolkit that teaches so deeply. And those
Mhm.
wounded masculine parts again want it now, right?
Yeah.
Fix it now. Fix her now. She's not good enough now. Fix her now.
Yeah.
And is also why Valkyries is a 6-month container. And honestly, after this round, it's going to be even longer, because there's so much medicine in time in doing the work that we bring through in Valkyries over time, particularly in the specific container, like with the women that are called to Valkyries, when you spend a long amount of time together, that's really when things get to shift. The time is such a great teacher, and we try to squidge it and manipulate it and like make it go faster. I want it now, but also like things are going too fast.
Yeah.
Like
But I
life is
need more
happening right
time.
now. Yeah.
I want to
There's
be there
a
already, but I also need time.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta bring us home real quick. But I wanna close this out with this really cute spot, this really EKE tension spot that you just popped up like 2 minutes ago. Um, and that's the when we embody the natural flow of the feminine, uh, end of life, just like spiraling up and then back in and down and up and back in, or expansion and contraction, it does become much more regulated or regular in the system. And like, oh, okay, this is the phase that I'm in. And now I have all of these embodied tools to handle it. And then there's also this dramatic flare that's like really wanting to victimize in the phase that we're in, or martyr in the phase that we're in. And that's a really great place for existential kink to come in, as EK loves drama. Our internal parts love drama. There's so much charge in it. Like, look out into the world and the things that people are obsessed with, TV shows, books, stuff that's unfolding in our lives. We just like love drama. And so what would it be like to let ourselves fully get off on how much we love drama and create drama in our own lives? So this cute little paradox there. Okay, I'm gonna close this out. I am certified in existential kink. I completed that last year. That's something that I knew that I wanted to do at least 5 years ago. And the certification process was not on the table anymore. And so when it opened up about 18 months ago, I was convinced that I manifested it. I was like, I called this in, I'm in. So I am existential kink certified, and it's an integral part of my process as well. The part of EK that is so important, and something that gets missed in shadow work, self-development, and existential kink, is the embodiment part. Embodying EK, and all of this is inside of Valkyries. So Violet's back, and I'm just bringing us home. Do you want to say anything else before we close out? Okay, great. All right, so we have, let's see, we have a masterclass coming up on the 23rd. It's the day after equinox. Still within the magical window, called Take Me to Church. And Take Me to Church is a transformation of the limitations that are holding you back from becoming the next version of yourself, the woman that is moving mountains and leading her soul on fire life. We're gonna do it all through embodiment. There will be some EK in there. A total body sermon. Like you'll spend the whole 90 minutes on the floor. You'll want chocolates and roses, and we're going to end with a beautiful breathwork practice called breathgasm. I should really start there because I feel like that's the seller of the whole masterclass. So I will link to that in the show notes. And Valkyries 6 starts on October 8th, and we run through April. Okay, well, happy existential kinking out there, and we'll see you next week.